ladies, gentlemen, and perpetually offended netizens. Welcome to the grand circus of India's most beloved pastime, selective outrage. Today's episode features our self appointed moral guardians making the earth shattering discovery that the internet, yes, the same internet that brought us cat videos, conspiracy theories, and unsolicited life advice from strangers, contains inappropriate content. In a revelation that has rocked the very foundations of our society, our esteemed social media influencers and cultural custodians have stumbled upon what the rest of humanity has known since the dawn of the dial up, that some corners of the internet are vulgar. Who could have possibly imagined? Now, picture this. A comedian cracks a joke about parents, and suddenly the nation's moral compass spins like a ceiling fan with the energy of a hyperactive teenager. FIRs fly faster than Twitter trends, and everyone from your neighborhood chaiwala to the blue tick brigade transforms into an overnight expert on family values. It is as if vulgarity was invented only yesterday, specifically to offend our delicate sensibilities. But wait, where were these guardians of public morality when similar content was flooding our screens for the past decade? But you see, those weren't the right targets. It's like discovering alcohol is bad for you, but only after catching your arch nemesis with a beer. The rest of the bars in town just serving apple juice. Obviously, our moral evolution as a society is a fascinating spectacle, much like how one progresses from beer to bourbon to becoming a regular at the Alcoholic Anonymous meetings. Our entertainment industry has its own graduation ceremony. It starts innocently enough. A little double meaning dialogue here, a suggestive eyebrow raiser there, but soon the audience develops an immunity to these mild doses of naughtiness. They demand stronger stuff. And before you know it, we are mainlining or mainstreaming pure, uncut profanity straight into our cultural bloodstream. How fascinating it is to witness the profound artistic evolution of stand up comedy. Isn't it just absolutely brilliant how our brave comedic warriors progress from harmless poultry related observations? Clearly, questioning a chicken's road crossing motivation is the height of intellectual discourse, to eventually reaching the pinnacle of their craft, shouting about a person's questionable life choices. Naturally, the audience grows more enlightened with each escalating stage, graduating from polite little titters to full blown hysteria once the family skeletons start tumbling out of the closet. And of course, the ultimate achievement in comedy is apparently reaching that magical moment when you can scandalize an entire family tree and somehow receive a standing ovation for it. What a truly sophisticated art form we have created here. And suddenly, we find ourselves in a world where crossing lines isn't just encouraged, actually, it is expected. It is as if there is an invisible committee somewhere handing out comedy licenses with the condition that each joke must be more outrageous than the last. Want to say something relevant? Better start mining the depths of depravity for your next viral hit. But here is where our story takes its most delicious turn. Enter our latest protagonist, caught in the crosshairs of public outrage for asking an admittedly inappropriate question. The reaction? Multiple FIRs. Because nothing says we are serious about moral policing like overwhelming our already burdened legal system with complaints about a tasteless joke. The real comedy, however, lies in the reaction of our social media intelligentsia. Yes, all the intelligentsia is now on the social media. If you're not on social media, you are not part of intelligentsia. These are the same people who probably laughed at similar content last week, but now they are writing lengthy threads about the decay of Indian values. It is like watching a group of sugar high children suddenly pretend they are concerned about dental hygiene or dental decay. The hypocrisy reaches its peak when you realize that many of these moral crusaders have their own skeletons dancing in their digital closets. They are like reformed alcoholics who still have an emergency flask hidden in their sock drawer just in case their principals need a day off. Meanwhile, our entertainment industry continues its merry dance on the graves of good taste. Movies push boundaries, TV shows compete for shock value, and political discourse makes stand up comedy look like a kindergarten rhyme session. But that's all fine because it is mainstream vulgarity, the acceptable kind, you see. Do you know what is the cherry on top of this pie of paradox? The apology circus that inevitably follows. Watch as our comedian performs the traditional dance of contrition. I apologize for my lapse in judgment, they say, while their social media metrics soar higher than their moral standards ever did. It is a master class in crisis management. Apologize today, trend tomorrow, repeat next month. But let us not pretend this phenomenon is new. Remember when the censor board was on a mission to protect our fragile minds from Western corruption? The same censor board that once banned a kissing scene because it was against Indian culture but had no problem with movies featuring lead characters chopping off limbs in high definition slow motion. Yes, that censor board. If Selective Outrage had a Hall of Fame, they would have a golden plaque right at the entrance. And let us talk about Bollywood, the industry that treats morality like a buffet, picking and choosing as per convenience. If a mainstream movie features questionable humor or objectification, it is art reflecting society. But if a stand up comic makes a crass joke, then what happens? How dare they pollute our cultural purity? Is the outcry. Meanwhile, our social media warriors, those fearless defenders of Indian values, continue their sacred mission. And what is their weapon of choice? Hashtag activism. Hashtag ban this. Hashtag cancel that, hashtag arrest so and so, because as we all know, real change happens when enough people type in all caps and flood the mentions of government officials. Ah, the power of the digital mob. Gandhi may have marched for miles, but these brave warriors rage from the comfort of their ergonomic chairs. Of course, selective outrage wouldn't be complete without the ever reliable political opportunists who flood our political landscape. Politicians who usually remain silent on actual governance issues suddenly develop a keen interest in stand up comedy. This joke is an attack on our culture, they thunder. as if they have just uncovered a grand conspiracy. Meanwhile, corruption, inflation, unemployment, and similar other issues await their attention. They become actually mere footnotes in the great war against tasteless humor. And let us not forget the great Indian hypocrisy loop. Outrage generates more outrage, which in turn fuels even more content consumption. The very people who cry foul about objectionable material are often the first ones to watch it, dissect it, and amplify it. Because let us be honest, nothing goes viral faster than controversy. If you are not offending someone, are you even relevant? Perhaps the most baffling part of this entire sham is the absolute conviction with which everyone plays their part. The comedians pretend to be shocked when their jokes cause a stir. The outraged public pretends they had no idea this kind of content even existed. The media pretend to analyze the situation while secretly praying for more such drama. And the politicians, they pretend to be cultural saviors while gleefully riding the outrage wave for votes. What else? Here we are, stuck in an endless loop of manufactured outrage and selective morality. We are like goldfish in a bowl of hypocrisy, constantly surprised by our own reflection. Every few months, we will rediscover that the internet contains inappropriate content, act shocked about it, file some FIRs, and then go back to scrolling through equally questionable content on our phones. Perhaps the real joke isn't the vulgar content or the outrage it generates. The real joke is our collective pretense that we are actually surprised by any of this. We are all actors in a grand comedy of errors, playing our parts with such conviction that we have forgotten it is all just theatre. As for our moral guardians, they will continue their vigilant watch, ready to pounce on the next controversy, but only after it is properly trending, of course. Because in the end, it is not about the principle, it is about the timing. And timing, my dear friends, as any comedian will tell you, is everything. So, here's to the next outbreak of selective outrage coming soon to the social media platforms. And these can be any or all of these platforms. Same time, same place, different target. Don't forget to bring your torches and stones, and maybe a mirror also if you are feeling particularly brave. You may like to look into it if you have the guts to. After all, the only thing more entertaining than the outrage is the reflection staring back at us.